Andrew, you've also been on the phones and got some mail about the Premier. Who's he been speaking to?
Yeah, he told the Prime Minister a few hours ago, is my understanding, and pointed out how long he'd been leader of the Labor Party, as he did just then. You know, he lost an election as opposition leader and then served 5 years as opposition leader prior to running as Premier. My understanding is the PM had a bit of a sense that he wouldn't be around forever, perhaps not around for the 2025 federal tilt, which comes after the 2025 state election. And so, yeah, they had a long chat, and it was similar reasons to his given in the press conference, the WA Premier, for why he's going.
We've got the statement as well from Anthony Albanese. I spoke to Mark McGowan earlier today to congratulate him on his retirement and all he has achieved through his time in public life. Mark leaves office as he led on his own terms and as his own man. He's been a great Premier of his proud state, an extraordinary leader for WA, Labor, and a trusted friend. Above all, Mark will be remembered for seeing the people of WA safely through one of the most challenging crises in our nation's history. In unprecedented times, Mark always held to his convictions and always sought to do the right thing by his state. While it's true the sheer scale of his final election victory earned him a place in Australian political history, I know Mark's definition of success has always been about delivering for people, improving lives and creating progress that endures. He has done all this in spades. I wish Mark, Sarah and their family all the very best for the next chapter of their lives. A huge day for WA, a big day in federal politics as well, because while we know Mark McGowan, he is the figure in WA politics, all of those individuals behind him certainly would be better known in WA, but at a federal level, I just wondered the implications for those federal seats that Labor picked up last time.
Well, I think Labor won 5 and they have a majority in the parliament of 3, even though they've got many more seats than the coalition. There's a big crossbench there now. So the chances of the Liberals snatching back some of those 5 are greater today. There's absolutely no doubt about it. There was a personal vote for Mark McGowan. Many traditional Liberal voters and supporters voted because it was McGowan more than it was Labor, and some of them took that vote federally. And they didn't like Scott Morrison, of course, either, so he's gone as well. But I think, it hurts Labor's federal election campaign. We're a long way off. They can announce a suite of policies which will assist them regain those seats, and the local members are there to do the work. But if you're thinking about a federal Liberal tilt in WA now in Swan, Pearce, Hasluck, one of these seats, you'd feel better today than you did yesterday. But here's the Premier announcing his retirement.
I've loved the challenge of solving problems, making decisions, getting outcomes and helping people. But the truth is I'm tired, extremely tired. In fact, I'm exhausted. The role of political leadership doesn't stop. It's relentless. It comes with huge responsibility that is all-consuming each and every day. And combined with the COVID years, it's taken it out of me. I'm convinced WA Labor can win and will win the next election in 2025. But I just don't have the energy or drive that's required to continue in the role as Premier.
All right, the first question came from the veteran Channel 7 reporter, Jeff Parry. He's been around there forever. They call him the Rottweiler. He wasn't a Rottweiler on this occasion, but he did ask, was there a light bulb moment? Is there something that has happened recently which made you come to this decision in such a rush?
Yeah, was there a light bulb moment? I know you said you've been considering it for a while, but was there something specific?
Thanks, Jeff. Look, it sort of builds up over time. I didn't want to, I sort of worked out I didn't want to fight the next election. And so the next election is, 20 months away or so. So therefore, at what point in time do I leave? And I wanted to give my successor, whoever that is, the opportunity to cement themselves and create their own way and their own agenda. It's beyond anything I could ever have imagined would happen to me. I grew up, my mum and dad and my brother were wonderful. I grew up in little country towns in northern New South Wales, and the idea that you'd one day become the Premier of Western Australia was so far removed from my thinking that it was just, I might as well become an astronaut.
The Coffs Harbour boy who went to uni with Anastasia Palaszczuk and thought he was as likely to become an astronaut as a Premier became one of Australia's most popular Premiers. Now he's gone after 6 years in the job. I interviewed him last November. He crossed to me from his electorate office there in Rockingham, south of Perth. And I caught him on the hop with a question about when he might retire. He had a sort of a telling laugh here. Just finally, how long do you plan on staying in the job? Are you going to follow your friend Anastasia Palaszczuk and go for 3 terms?
Yeah, I quite like the job. People of Western Australia have been very good to me. It's certainly, I plan to stay for a considerable period yet. That's an interesting question. I've been the Premier for, what, 5.5 years. It's been a great role and a great ride. A lot of interesting things I've had to deal with, but I don't plan on giving up yet.
Oh, what about that? I'm glad I asked it. Now, we know the Prime Minister's reacted. Here's the Treasurer today. He's tweeted a front page of him and Joy Story. Gosh, look at that. What a partnership. Really sad to see Mark McGowan announce his retirement as Premier and Treasurer. He's tweeted, Mark was an absolute joy to work with and great company too. A huge figure, not just in the West, but on the national stage as well. A big loss. Sounds like Mark McGowan won't be going federal, although he's always made that clear. He'll be going to the corporate sector, I dare say.